Hello and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we should be looking at operations with fractions. So to begin with, let's really look at what a fraction is and define what it is. So a fraction is a numerical quantity, otherwise a number, that represents part of a whole. So you can see I've got three diagrams beneath and they demonstrate what fractions represent. So you can see that if you could imagine it's a pizza, and that yellow section, the shaded section, is 1/4 of the whole, half of the whole, and 3/4 of the whole. So when doing operations with fractions, there are a few rules that you have to follow, and these rules change depending on the type of operation. So firstly, when you're adding fractions together, the denominators must always be the same. And the same can be said for subtracting. When you're subtracting fractions, the denominators also must be the same. So you have to find the lowest common denominator, otherwise known as the LCD. When you're multiplying, you don't follow the same rules. You don't need to find a common denominator. You just multiply the numerators together and the denominators together. So it's really quite simple. So at first, dividing fractions might seem quite difficult, but actually there's quite a simple rule. So you just take the reciprocal of the second fraction and then multiply them together. And I'll be talking about what a reciprocal is a bit later on in the video. Now that we've familiarized ourselves with the rules, let's look at a few addition and subtraction examples. So the first one I have is 7/3 plus 4/4. So the lowest common denominator is 12, and so we multiply 7/3 by 4/4 and 4/4 by 3/3, which gives us 28/12 plus 12/12, which is equal to 40/12, or more simply 10/3. Let's do a second example. We have 7/2 plus 6/4. So the lowest common denominator is actually 2. So we'll divide 6/4 by 2/2. And so we get 7/2 plus 3/2, which is equal to 10/2, or more simply 5. The same happens when we're dealing with subtraction. So we have 4/8 minus 2/8. And as you can see, the lowest common denominator, or LCD, is 4. So we're dividing 4/8 by 2. And that will give us 2/4 minus 2/4, which will equal 0/4. And as you know, 0 divided by any number is just 0. And so then for the second one, we have 6/20 minus 3/10. And the LCD is 10. Which is equal to 3/10 minus 3/10, which again is just equal to 0. Okay, so now let's move on to some multiplication examples. We have 7/3 times 4/10, which is just equal. It's very straightforward because you just multiply the numerators together and denominators. So it's 7 times 4 over 3 times 10, which is 28/30. Let's do a second example. We have 14/2 times 2/14, which is just equal to 28/28, which is equal to 1. Okay, so last but not least, we have division, which is perhaps perceived as a bit more difficult, and there are a few more steps involved, but it's really quite clear. So when you're dividing, you have to take the reciprocal of the second fraction. And essentially, you're just switching the numerator and denominator. For example, if you had 1/2, the reciprocal would be 2/1. So for the example, we have 4/6 divided by 10/3. So we're going to do 4/6 times 3/10, taking that reciprocal and then multiplying them so that we get 4 times 3 over 6 times 10, which is just 12/60. Which then simplifies down to 1/5. So thank you very much for watching our video on operations with fractions. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment or send us an email. See you in our next video. Bye.